I know that this sign means that there's a cut named after George. It's George's cut, but in my heart, I want to believe that it's saying George is cut. Like there's an emergency down there, and instead of getting George some help, he's just like, I'll engrave a sign for you, George. They'll find you. All right, there we go. Got our map. Got a little stick library there. Got a dog poop can. Yeah, little community area over here. Quite nice. Let's take the Two Forks Trail, which seems to imply that it would actually go to the confluence. All right, so over here, downhill quite a ways, we've got a river, and it's flowing that way. And then on this other side, downhill once again quite a ways, we have another river, and it's flowing that way. So they're both flowing that way, and they meet about a half a mile or maybe a little bit more that way and become the Eno River. This is the West Fork, and over here is the East Fork. And so this ridge that the trail is on, that I'm standing on, is in between two of them, and they kind of come towards each other and then go away on both sides, meaning that the outer edge of the bend of both rivers is towards this ridge that we're on. And the outer bend of the river erodes the earth faster. So both sides will be eroding this ridge faster than the inside. They'll be depositing soil on the inside bank and eroding it from the outside. And so that means that eventually, many years, millions probably from now, they will cut through this ridge and the confluence area will be right here. And, you know, we'll all be dead by then, so who cares? But over here, we have something pretty cool. Beech trees. I love beech trees. They do very cool things for forests. They have a lot of mycorrhizal associations with their roots. So you get fungus, mushrooms, and things that grow in forests with beech trees that you don't get really without the beech trees. So let's take a look at them. There's another cool thing happening in here, which is this. Let's see if I can get close enough. It's a little bit out of reach. There we go. Come on, focus. That is honeydew eater. That is a fungus. And it grows on, oh, there's another one right there. It grows on the honeydew of an aphid that sits on the branches of these beech trees and sucks their sap, and all of the excess water and sugar goes out the other end of the aphid, and it drips down onto the lower branches, and then this fungus grows there. And while it's alive and fresh, it looks like a classic kitchen sponge, but then it dries out in the winter, and it looks like this you know, misunderstood character from a Miyazaki movie or something. Just this sort of evil, shaggy, dark thing that hangs out in trees. Another cool thing going on around here is a parasitic plant. This is the remains of the inflorescence, probably some seeds in here, maybe, of beech drops. It's a parasitic plant that parasitizes the beech roots, and they're all around here. There's just a ton of them. And yeah, they completely live underground. The only time that you'll ever see them is when they flower to reproduce, and that's what this is. I believe they're in the Orobanchaceae family. They're all over the place. I see some more over here. Very neat. But yeah, all that happens because of these guys. Got a bit of a waterfall down there, going over the top of a pile of rocks or some giant boulders and a dam, maybe a beaver dam. Looks beaverish. Maybe these beavers had their adorable little hands in that. Quite neat. Got all kinds of stuff going on out here. Got a cardinal over there I keep trying to get a shot of. You might be able to see him through that little thicket. But yeah, I got this down tree here going across the river. some kind of mushrooms popping out right there. Looks like they might be oyster, but I'm not going to go out there and investigate. Different kind of fungus popping out right here. Don't know what that is. Huh, there's that cardinal. Ah, it's gone. But anyway, right over here, got a couple things that have been going up this tree. First off, poison ivy. You see this very hairy vine right here. And if you look up there, you see all these branches sticking out with little berry clusters on them. That is poison ivy, and that's poison ivy fruit. And then also you have this sort of ropey, sinewy thing growing up, but that's a dead trumpet vine right there. Very neat looking. Looks like a, I don't know, arthritic snake just kind of draped over there or something. Pretty neat. And all around me are thorns that keep stabbing me in the thighs. Doesn't feel good. But then this thicket that we're walking through right here, this is spice bush. And you can sort of tell it's spice bush by this. It's hard to identify in winter, but if you kind of know it already, it stands out. Basically based on the environment. It's down by the river, and it's got this bark that's kind of smooth with these little splotches of gray amidst the brown and these little bumps. The name for those escapes me at the moment, but that's what this whole thicket is pretty much. I'll get back out here to the edge. Here's another one here, and show you one thing you can do with these. I'm going to snap this twig off. Can't do it one-handed, really. There we go. Spice bush twig. You can chew on them. They taste spicy. You can collect a bunch of these and make a tea out of them, apparently. You can also do that with the leaves, and I collected a good bit of leaves earlier in the year. I have those dried in a jar in my office. But the flavor from the twigs and the leaves and the berries is all pretty much the same, and it's a very Christmassy. Accidentally broke a piece off. Very Christmassy sort of allspice. It's sometimes called allspice, but it's not that. It's a cinnamon, cardamom, clove, kind of clean, warm flavor. I don't know, it's hard to describe, but it's quite nice. Definitely feels like the kind of thing that you shouldn't do like every day. Feel like it's got some pretty interesting, oh hey squirrel, some pretty interesting chemistry going on in it, and you don't want your body chemistry to be too interesting, you know, but it's nice every once in a while. Everything in moderation, including moderation. Scared the shit out of me. I was walking this way, and I turn around, and then very fresh beaver sign right there. You can see it looks like that's what the teeth did right there. Well, not that stick. That's the stick I've been chewing on. That's what my teeth did. That's what the beaver's teeth did. They kind of slice right through there. Looks like they clamped down on it repeatedly, almost. But yeah, teeth act like little chisels. Just cut right through that. Actually, I think that's kind of remarkable. I think that's ironwood. Can't remember the other names for it right now, but it's a really, really dense hardwood. In case you needed more reason to love beaches, look at that. Sometimes they do that. Look at that beautiful root flare right there. Just anchored into the side of that hill, holding the side of that hill together. When this thing dies, maybe it'll fall over and pry that hill apart a little bit. Massive crown up there. Canopy is quite wide. Old boy, probably been there just decades on end. Center of its own little ecosystem. That looks like putty root right there, growing straight on the trail. It's kind of nuts. Doesn't have that, looks a lot like cranefly orchid too, but leaf is bigger, a little more strappy. Doesn't have that purple thing going on the underside like creamfly orchid does. Kind of a rare orchid. Weird to see it. I mean, it's right in the footpath there. I mean, sort of on the edge, but it's more in it than out of it. Weird. Well, cool find, but weird location. A lot of people say big meadow runs the world, but it's not just big meadow, you know. I mean, it's what we see, the dangers and harm in the world that's done by big meadow that we blame on big meadow is actually, you know, it's these private equity firms that own big meadow, and they own big deciduous forest, and they own big riparian area and all that. And it's not some you know, the effort of big meadow itself. It's what we see is the combined effect of short-term thinking and profit motive, you know, at a scale larger than you really want to admit. But anyway, there's right next to this sign's kind of a cool thing. Look at this waxy purple stem here. I think this is one of our few native rubus species in this area. Most of them are invasives, but this is, I believe, the black raspberry. It's got tiny little thorns. I don't know if you can see that one there. Tiny, but sharp. Pretty neat. There's a couple more canes of it over there. I saw one or two over there. But yeah, it'd be cool to come back when those are in season. They're delicious. Big meadow is big. Not very meadowy this time of year, but it's big. Quite big. I'm going to come back to this some other time of the year. This has potential to be very, very cool. Just saw a hawk fly by hunting out here. I'm sure there's all sorts of little, even at this time of year, rodents scampering around out there, picking up seeds and whatnot. And hawks scampering around up there, picking out rodents. I do see some burnage that has happened. That's a good sign. Massive dead sycamore. 2 trunks. Looks like it's been dead for a while because it's doesn't all the big chunky branches up there quite dead. Actually, I see a couple of little seed balls up there still. So maybe this thing only died this last year or so. But still, this thing's gonna stand like this for potentially years to come. You see all kinds of bird activity going in and out of it. You know, this thing it's still part of the ecosystem. Possibly even more now than ever before because things can live inside it now. Yeah, it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop when they die. Look at the squiggles. And all these little holes packed in it too. There's tons of stuff living in this tree. The squiggles actually are probably what killed the tree. Those would have been the trails left behind by little larvae of beetles, probably burrowing just beneath the bark, eating all that nice living tissue. And if they happen to go all the way around it and cut it in half, kills the tree. And also just introduces infection and things like that into it. But yeah, beautiful pattern, unless you have trypophobia. Hi, Matt. Now that is Beaver Dam. That's backing up the water. What's that? Maybe 2.5, close to 3 foot drop, upstream versus downstream. It's pretty cool too. You see these fresh stripped bark pieces. A lot of what they eat is the inner bark of twigs and small trees and things like that. And so they probably have a little lodge up in there or somewhere nearby, and they're cutting all these things down, dragging them here, floating them, sticking them in there, jamming them in there. Built it up against this log right here. Makes it easy, gives them a starting point. Very, very cool stuff. Beautiful view. Up here on this hill between all these beaches. This is the East Fork of the river. Looks kind of green but clear. Absolutely gorgeous. Another neat thing about beaches is they'll hold on to their leaves. So the leaves in fall, you know, they turn brown, or this sort of vanilla beige color, but then they hang on to them. They don't drop them. They only drop them, well, I mean, some of them will fall off, obviously, but they hang on to most of them until the new growth in the spring pushes them off. Literally just kind of, the buds open up and kind of knock the old leaves off. And so you end up with this effect where you can kind of see, very easily find them in the winter forest. That is a tempting ravine. Look at that thing. Drops off this hill right here, down into there, into a flat sort of floodplain. Got some mature cedars growing along the river over there. Up here on the higher uphill, we got some of these. Look at that big old dude there, the beech trees. Very cool. Looks like lots of cool stuff's going on down there. I'm not gonna go in though. I'm not gonna go in. So I'm down in the ravine now, and yeah, there's a little bit of a beaver work zone around here. Got multiple fairly large trees. Look at that, just for scale. There's my hand. Look at all these little beaver teeth marks. Drop that tree. Looks like it's so this is actually kind of cool. So you see that one has been taken down, and it's probably 7-8 inches diameter. Working on that one over there, about the same size. This one they took down, fairly large, maybe 5-6 inches, 5 inches diameter. And where is it? Looks like they managed to carry that one off. Maybe did it in a couple pieces. They're working on this guy over here. Yeah, beavers are going at it in here. This is a little beaver work zone. I can get over near the river if I can. Work my way back out. So it might be standing right on top of them. I followed that little game trail over here. Don't know if you can see it right there. Looks like it splits off that way as well. They convene, come down here. Saw this little game trail shoot going into the water. And right at my feet, fairly large hole of something. So I'm not gonna, just wanted to show you guys that, but I'm getting away from here. I don't want to disturb it anymore. I'm gonna find my way out. The contrast of the iron-rich clay and the cold, clear green water. It's just awesome. Out here on this trail, surrounded by all these beech trees, the hills full of quartz. It's amazing, very peaceful. All right, so let's rate Confluence. In terms of wild, it's pretty big and relatively isolated, considering its proximity to sort of a relatively large metropolitan area. You do see, you hear a highway sort of in the background pretty much at all times, but not too bad. I mean, you're not in the middle of Pisgah or, you know, Great Smokies or anything. So yeah, you got a wide variety of habitats. You got the meadows, you got you know, beaver maintained habitats and all that. Clear sign of animal life all over, wide variety of plants. So yeah, I mean, it's let's give it a 7 for wild. In terms of weird, it's got I mean, the biggest thing is in the name, you know, Confluence. It's got the two rivers that sort of come together to make the Eno River. They're very small little rivers, but yeah, it's kind of neat. The confluence itself is underwhelming, but that's you know, that was mostly just compared to my own expectations. I don't know what I was thinking. So I don't know. I was kind of hoping there'd be like a little Pride Rock sort of situation right here, but I don't know. That's not on nature. That's not nature's fault. That's mine. So that's, but it is there. And the fact that you have these two rivers, one on one side and one on the other, that have different characteristics, and you can kind of bounce back and forth between the two. It's pretty neat. One of them is sort of burbling over little rocks and has little rapids and stuff, and the other one is more beaver maintained, so it's just these succession of beaver dams that back up this pool of, in this time of year, just placid, cool, crisp, green water. that is, you know, a nice juxtaposition to the red clay and the grayness of the beech trees in the winter forest. It's just very, very beautiful, and the contrast of those two is pretty neat. Yeah, I mean, it's weird, but it's not that weird. I'll give it a 4 for weird. So I'll put it right about there. That's Confluence. And that is 28, 7 and 4. All right.